Hey guys, and welcome to the Fish Room. I'm Rachel O'Leary, and today I want to talk about research. Knowledge is power, and how we get our information, find our information, and use our information is especially critical to keep fish well. And it can be really confusing to know where to go to find good information, whose information to trust, and really just to cut through a lot of the BS. And in the past, I used to use forums pretty heavily, and they're still a really great resource. But what I've come to do more is research through Google Scholar to read papers, but of course that requires you to find someone or pay for access to most of the articles. And really my favorite resource is still magazines and books. Of course, books. I love books. I have tons of books. But my favorite magazine is Amazonas magazine, and historically it was printed in German. The editor is Hans Georg Evers, who's one of my personal heroes. Extremely important man in the hobby. And about 5 years ago, I believe, Amazonas sold the publishing rights to a publishing company in the United States. And that gave them the ability to have a translator translate articles in order to make them available for us to consume as English-speaking people. And this was really huge for the hobby, because before that, we were kind of in the dark with a lot of information. You would see information, but Google Translate for fish stuff really doesn't work all that well. There's a lot of things that just don't translate properly unless you're bilingual and can sort of figure it out. And they have featured me in their magazine, just to be transparent, and I also was one of their contributing authors for a long time, especially those first 3 or 4 years. I did a lot of articles for Amazonas magazine, and they do a lot of breeding reports, new species information, just current events, what's going on in the wild for a lot of these fish, what we can do as hobbyists. They have an online blog, which is really great, that has a ton of different contributing authors. Amazonas magazine, the publisher, Reef to Rainforest, also puts out Coral magazine, which is a fantastic magazine. But they're a really excellent resource, and all of their information is pretty well fact-checked. So they're really a resource that I recommend, and they have a print magazine, or you can get a digital subscription. So I reached out to Amazonas because I was looking for something that I could do for you guys to help give you some knowledge, or to give you some suggestions of what you can read or what you can look at in order to do some research, or just sort of feed your brains a little bit. And I thought Amazonas would be great, so I reached out to them and asked them if I could get a digital subscription or two to give to you guys, so that way it could be anywhere in the world, because shipping print magazines all over the world is a bit limiting. And not only did they agree to happily give me a couple subscriptions, they offered to give me 12. And so since today is December 12th, the 12th day of Fishmas, I have 12 digital subscriptions to give away to you guys. The hard part is knowing how to do so. What I would like for you to do is to comment below if this is something that you would like. And then let me know where you are, because I'd like to make sure, again, that I pick folks from both the United States, Canada, Mexico, and the rest of the world. So, and in just a minute here, I'll show you some examples of the magazine and show you why it's a really valuable resource. And this makes a fantastic gift for the fish keeper in your life. I believe if you have a subscription, you can go and look back at back issues, which is really useful too. And it's just a really high quality, high level magazine that's good for hobbyists of any experience levels, but really especially good for those of us that are a little bit past beginner. The information is not super generalized, it's very fact-checked, and I really think it's the best magazine on the market for fish keepers. So let's go over to my office and I'll show you some examples. So I apologize in advance for the state of my office. As you can see, I have quite a lot of books. It goes all the way up to the ceiling. And I really do enjoy research. And again, Amazonas magazine is one of my favorites. So one of the things that I think's best about this magazine is that it is really, really up on current trends in the hobby. In fact, this issue from 2012 is all about dwarf shrimp. I wrote an article in here on shrimp disease, but there's all kinds of interesting things on the different species, how they're farmed, how they're raised, how to breed them, you know, and how to feed them, everything. And it's just been a really incredible magazine. This one has stuff on angels and dwarf cichlids, including information on their native habitats, which, as you know, is really, really important. An article on genetics of angelfish, just to make things easy. About a year ago, I imported some half-beaks, and I had no idea what I was getting. And the article in this issue from January, February 2014 was absolutely instrumental on me sort of figuring out what I had and how to keep it and breed it. Often there's really, really invaluable resources like pictures of the native habitat, which is really useful for us as keepers, to be able to set up our aquariums in a way that really will foster the fish to breed or at least thrive. There's always planted tank information. And again, they've offered me 12 subscriptions to give to you guys. Here's one on Bucafe Alandra, as well as the Boraris species, which you guys know I love. One of my favorite things about Amazonas magazine is I get the German edition too, even though I can't read it, is that it makes me feel like I know if I'm keeping up with the trends in the hobby or the new species and things like that. I love to thumb through it and see sort of where I stand, or if there's new things that I should actively be trying to get. So it's really great. So they gave me 12 subscriptions to give to you guys, and I would like to make sure that at least half of you get them that aren't in the United States. So let me know below if you would like a subscription and where you're located. Now keep in mind, when I pick the winners, I will post and I will tell you that you've won, but you have to contact me. You have to send me an email to let me know, and then I'll pass your email on to Amazonas Magazine and they will set up your digital subscription. I think it was a really, really cool thing. And Amazonas also sponsors a lot of events around the country and the world, and it's just a really excellent resource for all things fish keeping. And if you don't win, I really highly recommend that this be a magazine that you get for yourself or ask for as a gift, because it is a treasure trove of information. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoy this giveaway, and I will see you tomorrow. I save all my print magazines and books, and there are just stacks of them everywhere in the fish room. One of these days I'll get organized.